you look at the eastern seaboard of the United States, that is where a lot of the high-risk areas are. The high-risk states, we're going to go through all of the high-risk states that are in that high-risk category. Hurricane Eva in 82 did a lot of damage on Kauai. The other states, there's been over 120 hurricanes that have directly hit states in the United States. Hey, what's happening, friends? We are heading into hurricane season in the state of Hawaii. And so one of the things that Hawaii is known for, or people think of Hawaii, is that there's like tons of hurricanes in Hawaii and we're always at risk of getting hit by a hurricane. And so did some research for you and wanted to put into context what the actual risks are for hurricanes in Hawaii. And is it something that you should really be worried about or really have high on your list of things to be worried about? We always want to be prepared, but is it something that you should really stress out about all the time, or maybe even make a decision not to live here because of the hurricane risk? We're going to dive into all of that and look at some of the details here. So the first thing is this is a great map that just color codes in America what the risks of hurricanes are. And obviously the red areas are the highest risk and the blue areas are very low risk, and then the gray areas are no risk at all. So if you look at the eastern seaboard of the United States, that is where a lot of the high risk areas are. But if you look at Hawaii down here, and I have a blown up map of Hawaii right here, Hawaii isn't even a high risk state completely. So the Big Island is in the relatively high, it's not even in the high risk category. Maui and to Honolulu is in the relatively moderate risk area, and Kauai is actually in the relatively low risk area. So Hawaii compared as a state compared to other states is not as high risk as many other states. And I've been asking a lot of people lately, do you know in terms of rankings on what is the rank, where does Hawaii fall in the rankings of states that are at risk of getting hit by a hurricane? Where are we? And so I did the research, and here's the data. If you're looking to relocate here on the Big Island, I want to share with you a resource that we put together. Over 80 agents from my team, expert agents here on the Big Island, put together a relocation guide that will help you evaluate all of the important factors that you want to take into account before you move here to the Big Island. School districts, healthcare, employment, all of the things that you got to think about, we put into one home buyer's guide that will help you figure out what is best when you start this relocation process here to the Big Island. So if you want this guide, just click on the link below, fill out the form. We will send you the guide for free. And if you want to take the next steps and have a conversation with us, we'd be happy to help. So the high risk states, we're going to go through all of the high risk states that are in that high risk category are Florida, Texas, Louisiana, North Carolina, South Carolina, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, then Virginia, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Delaware, and then Maryland. So even in the top 15 high-risk states, Hawaii is not on it. All of those states have a higher risk of hurricanes than Hawaii does. And then medium to low-risk states are Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Maine, and we are number 19. Hawaii is number 19 in terms of possible hurricane risk in the United States. And I think that is definitely something that people have a misconception about. I think they think we are a much higher risk state than other states. And if you think about it, we are actually a very, very low compared to 18 other states on the East Coast in terms of hurricane risk. And so what does the hurricane history look like in Hawaii? So here's the data. Hawaii has only been hit directly by 4 hurricanes since reliable records have been kept in 1950. It was Hurricane Dot in 59, Hurricane Eva in 82 did a lot of damage on Kauai, Hurricane Iniki in 1992 that again did a lot of damage on Kauai, and then Hurricane Lane, which came pretty close to the islands and caused a lot of flooding and a little bit of damage, but wasn't really a direct hit. It just kind of skirted by the islands. I was obviously around for that one and I remember it, but it wasn't anything like what you see in like Florida or the East Coast when they get direct hits. So pretty less common in Hawaii. 4 times in the last 70 years. Not too bad in terms of risk. I'll take those odds any day of the week. And for comparison's sake, so if you're wondering, hey, what does that look like in terms of the risk to other states? If you look at the other states, there's been over 120 hurricanes that have directly hit states in the United States since we started taking records. So that's about 1 out of every 3 to 4 years. If you look at direct hits, there's been 65, most of them in the Gulf Coast. Louisiana has had 60 direct hurricane hits. North Carolina has had 30. South Carolina has had 25. And Mississippi and Alabama have had 15 to 20 direct hurricane hits. So if you're thinking about hurricanes as being a huge problem in Hawaii, the reality is it really isn't. They fly by us, a couple of times a year, every single year, but we are absolute speck in the middle of the ocean. And although a lot of hurricanes do happen in the Pacific, very, very rarely do they happen right in conjunction with where the islands are and actually hit us directly. So super low risk. Always remember that 4 times in the last 70 years when you think about natural disasters and all the crazy stuff that we see happen with tornadoes and wildfires and all these different things throughout the United States. Hawaii is actually a very, very low risk state when it comes to natural disasters. And so I'll take those odds any day of the week, and definitely not something that we worry about. We always make sure we have some spare food and maybe fill up some water, when hurricanes get close, but we definitely don't overreact to them because we know that historically they pass by and we might get a little bit of rain from the outskirts of them. But in most cases, it's not something that keeps us up at night and that we worry about all the time. So if you have any questions about this or anything else Hawaii or Hawaii real estate related, you can always email me at dylan@buybigisland.com, or there is a link in the description below to book a meeting with me directly. I'm happy to talk about whatever your plans are. Always appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys next week. Aloha.